Cup began with a bang. Kobe Jones detonated 2 bombs at South Africa's goal. Captain Claudio Reyna hammered one, and Ernie Stewart stretched the net with a rocket. Bruce Arena's old guard was dominant. Tonight against Ireland, the likes of Greg Vanny fill an all-new lineup, with Ben Olsen running wild and C.J. Brown solidifying the D. Players who have earned their time with the national team get the rare chance to prove they belong in the mix. It's Game 2 of the U.S.'s 3-game tournament trek next. Cup 2000 comes to Foxborough, Massachusetts. Ireland, which opened with a tie, takes on the United States men's national team at Foxborough Stadium. The weather, in a word, horrible. Temperature in the low 40s, rain, heavy rain, and driving rain. Winds 35 miles an hour and up. Lashed to the mast, along with Seamus Mallon and Tommy Smith. I'm Jack Edwards. Hope you're warm and dry. Seamus, tonight a golden opportunity for a bunch of Americans.
Well, especially Jason Kreis and Jovan Karofsky have got a big opportunity to step up tonight. Jason Kreis has shown us that in MLS he can score some remarkable goals, but he has yet to be really authoritative as a finisher for the national team. Jovan Karofsky has been quite inconsistent in his lead-up play, but has also scored some tremendous goals from outside. Now, Tommy, for Ireland, some new faces tonight.
Well, there certainly is. Mick McCarthy has some young guns. Stephen McPhail, he's very smooth. He is a cultured left foot. Brilliant player, great prospect. Only 20 years of age, the Leeds man.
The weather is going to be a factor throughout this game, yet the fans have turned out anyway in Foxborough. We're moments away from the kick. We're back in a flash.
Its father spread pandemonium throughout the Midwest. Its arrival will thrill a nation. Its legacy is destined to change the world. Presenting Son of Beast, the world's tallest, fastest, only looping wooden roller coaster. Son of Beast, only at Kings Island. Save $7 with discount coupons from participating McDonald's.
The battle that was meant to be.
This is my year.
Oscar De La Hoya.
I'm fighting the best fighters in the world.
Sugar Shane Mosley.
Now I finally get my shot.
This time it's in my hands.
I won't give an inch.
I'm coming to knock him out.
We'll see who goes down.
De La Hoya versus Mosley. Destiny. June 17th, live on pay-per-view.
The action is in demand. Pay-per-view for the demanding viewer. This month on Time Warner.
It's Soccer Saturday on ESPN. Jason Kreis and Dallas burned the crew in their first meeting. Dante Washington and company won the rematch. They collide again in Columbus. Dallas-Columbus, Saturday at 4:30 on ESPN.
How U.S. gymnast Vanessa Atler eats a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Town. The dude's hanging off with a paper truck. Mr. Chang down at the local deli sells me morning coffee, wishes me good luck. This is for the people in my neighborhood. They help me through the day and make me feel good. This spot's for you. And you and you and you. This spot's for you.
You worry about your car lasting? Imagine going 500 miles in one stretch at 200 miles an hour. That gets out the life right out of your car. That's why my team has always used Havoline Motor Oil. The same unique formulation you can get for your car. Technically speaking, that's the kind of protection I'm talking about. Why aren't you guys working?
Can't get enough peanuts? Get a Payday. Sweet caramel and tons of salty peanuts.
Today's match is brought to you by York Peppermint Patties. Dark chocolate, cool mint. Get the sensation. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of U.S. Soccer. This Bud's for you. and by Texaco and Haviland, proud sponsors of U.S. Soccer and the 2000 U.S. Olympic team. Blasting sheets of rain in Foxborough, Massachusetts, with temperatures in the low 40s, yet thousands have turned out to see the Republic of Ireland take on the United States in U.S. Cup 2000. Tommy Smith and Seamus Mallon take us through the starting lineups for both teams.
Well, we're looking at both teams here, and Berhalter makes his living playing for Canberra in Holland. He's big, he's strong, he has good vision, good range, and a great tackler.
Well, Tommy, like Berhalter, John O'Brien also plays for a professional club in Holland, this one, Ajax. He'll be trying to make his claim as a central defensive midfielder for Bruce Arena.
Well, when you look at the forwards up front, one man you've got to look at is Mr. Foley. This is his first start for Ireland. He came on as a sub against Scotland, came on as a sub against Mexico. He scored a goal against Mexico. Looks like he could be the real thing.
Gentlemen, I have a question for you here. How on earth can you stay comfortable in conditions such as these?
Well, I guess if you were brought up around Knockbridge, we were used to nights like this, but we were used to them in December, not in June. That's the kicker, isn't it?
No, the word comfort rarely comes into play when you think about football in that part of the world. But the good news, though, is that the playing surface has held up really well. This field is built on some sand, which can be somewhat annoying in the dry season, but it's perfect tonight. It's absorbed a lot of this water.
Instructive that on the coin flip, the United States now has taken the wind at its back for the first half.
I think they had to go to Boston to find the coin. It just blew it away once they threw it up in the air.
Here's Terry Phelan playing it up in the air, and any ball that's in the air is going to react crazily. Frankie Haydock, the throw in for the United States, wearing the red jerseys, going left to right here in the first half. The referee for tonight's match is Armando Acundia of Mexico.
Wonder if he packed an umbrella coming all the way up from Mexico for this one.
Here's Phelan's throw, trying to get it to Doherty. John O'Brien punts it out of there. Phelan heading it right back in. C.J. Brown unable to bring it down. Kilban attempts the centering pass. Comes all the way out to Ante Razov. Now Jovan Karofsky lobs it down the field way too far in front of Jason Kreis, and you saw the ball skip on the very wet turf. Although the footing is good, the surface obviously is soaking wet.
Well, I think Jack Charlton used to describe it best for a night like tonight. If you're a forward, you just give it a lash. The one thing you don't want to do as a keeper tonight is you don't want to step off the line, because you could be beaten easily from about 50 yards out.
Karofsky's pass for Ralston deflected out of bounds. Haydock will throw it in. That's Razov a little bit too stiff on the touch, and it comes back out of bounds.
Well, the U.S. took the wind, as you mentioned, Jack, and on the theory that you always take the best of the conditions. That's kind of laughable tonight, but you want to have the wind for you. If you bet, maybe it'll die down. Ha ha ha.
Kilban, a little tight play here. Now it comes back outside for Farley, but again the ball gets knocked out of bounds. It's all on the near side of the field, and the wind is blowing across the field toward us, but it is diagonal from the left to the right. Phelan getting it back from Kilban. Knocked out of bounds as Steve Ralston goes back, marking his man. It'll be an Ireland throw-in. There's Bruce Arena wearing the ball cap with the bill and squinting into the blasting rain. C.J. Brown drills it along the ground. The Irish look quite comfortable in these elements. The Americans not quite so fluid yet. Kreis lays it back for John O'Brien. Now onto the left side, Ben Olsen, who can create an awful lot down that flank, but he gives it right away to Holland. Holland runs it out of bounds. This portion of the match is brought to you by Haviland. We are in the 3rd minute in the first half. Due to technical difficulties, we're not able to bring you the clock in the upper left-hand corner as you are so accustomed.
We just saw Bruce Arena a minute ago there, guys, and of course he's taking a bit of a calculated gamble tonight, Tommy, and putting out a totally different 11 from what was, I suppose, the first team against South Africa. And tonight, it's a tough night for those guys to be able to show what they're capable of doing.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with what Bruce is doing. I mean, normally you would put out 7 or 8 maybe of your first team, or maybe he has decided what team is going to play in the World Cup, and some of these lads maybe don't have a chance of getting there, but it's very unusual for a manager just to take 11 players and switch them around.
Kilban runs over Hayduk in midfield. It'll be a restart for the United States.
That's one advantage Ireland might have. Kilban has brilliant speed on the left wing. He's not normally a left winger, but he has brilliant speed on the left wing. He's in place of Kennedy tonight, and he could cause some havoc on down that left wing.
Well, especially if Frankie Hayduk goes wandering, as he's known to from time to time. You know, sometimes positionally he loses his bearings a bit, and if he does, Kilban can certainly punish him.
He's a surfer, dude. He could nearly surf out there tonight, couldn't he?
That's right.
He doesn't need a board.
C.J. Brown not so comfortable in the wet, skids a pass out of bounds, and Ireland has to throw in. Get a call against the men in green for holding behind the back. It was Dominic Foley who was whistled.
Listening to those boos, I think the preponderance of the crowd here is behind the men in green, Tommy.
Well, it sounds like it, and of course Foley, what a story. He scored his first goal Sunday, and he said it was the best day of his life. Cork won in the hurling, and he scored a goal. He's a big Cork man from Charlesville.
Foley lays it out on the left side for Kilban. Ralston comes back to O'Brien. O'Brien's chip ahead. Phil Babb heads it out for Ireland. Hayduk turns it back toward the midfield stripe. Ralston, a standout in Major League Soccer, hasn't always had too much success with the national team, and this may be his last best chance to secure a spot for the World Cup qualifying matches, which begin next month. Ralston, number 21 in red, playing the right side in midfield for Bruce Arena. In the 6th minute at Foxborough, sheets of rain.
You look at Ralston and you just wonder, I mean, what was he, the 96 Rookie of the Year? He really has to step to the next level, hasn't he, if he's going to make it on the international team?
That's right, Tommy. I mean, he's had a couple of chances before. He's never really been fully fit, his claim is, but, you know, that kind of claim fades fast when you're down to World Cup qualifying.
Berhalter throws it right up for grabs for Razov. Babb wins it out of the air. Here's a drive, goes over the top. Bennels coming inside.
Well, a very good read by Ben Olsen to find the space from his left midfield position, coming in at the top of the box to sort of pick up the bits and pieces, and wouldn't you know, a little bit and piece fell to him off the head of Phil Babb, and a little touch from Christ, but a good run and a fine shot over the top. First serious threat on goal there in the match.
Alan Kelly putting it back into play, and you see the wind just stopping that ball. It fell straight down.
Well, I just questioned Mick McCarthy using Phil Babb again tonight. He was a disaster against Scotland. I mean, he was cruelly exposed. He hasn't played for Liverpool all year in the Premiership, and yet Nolly has him out there for his second game. I'm not sure why he's out there. I mean, what is he looking at him for?
Well, I saw him play in Dublin too recently, Tommy, and every time he was on the ball, he got a lot of jeers from the crowd. He's not a very popular guy, even in Dublin at this point.
Well, he kind of give up on the ball a couple of times against Scotland. I think that's what rankled the fans.
Here's Kelly with another restart.
A lot of Irish players missing, of course, Tommy, from the tour, as you know. Cunningham not back there.
Well, of course, the big loss is a man you'd love, Roy Keane, the big Manchester United midfielder, right?
Holding call again against Ireland, so the United States starts it out again. Number 3 in red, Greg Berhalter, has sent a couple of long balls through, and now he's going to yield to the goalie, Brad Friedel, 35 yards out. Friedel all the way up to Razov, trying to head it on for O'Brien, who was on his way through.
What about Alan Kelly? His dad is Alan Senior. He's the manager of, or the coach of the goalkeepers with DC United.
And another push against Ireland here. The U.S. Cup, of course, is a round robin, closely resembling the structure of the first round of World Cup when you have group play with 3 other teams. The U.S. is playing Mexico Sunday, 1 Eastern time. You can see it at 3 Pacific if you're out on the West Coast on ABC. In midfield, this is McPhail sending it down the wing for Doherty. C.J. Brown sliding gracefully on the slick turf to knock it out of bounds.
Well, I think it showed McPhail's vision there as he slapped the ball down into the corner. Beautiful ball. Doherty runs onto it very well. He was on the team that played for Ireland in Toulon last week, and he just called into the squad.
Phelan playing it short with Kilban. Phelan, who missed about 2 years with a broken leg. Now Babb pops it up at the top of the box. Doherty misjudging it in the wind. And Berhalter having to head it over the end line. It'll be a corner kick for Ireland.
Boy, Friedel in your picture there. This is going to be the first tough test for Brad Friedel in this swirling wind. Watching the Irish team train yesterday, these guys can hit nice, dodgy, swerving balls in the best of conditions. In this kind of weather, it's a bit of a nightmare, but this will be a left footer.
Anything you can put on the goal is a threat to score on a night like tonight. Ireland's corner, a hard low one, bouncing around, still in the box, and Olsen turns and clears it out toward midfield. Holland running it down, lays it back for Phelan. Phelan just pops it high and wide, and the Ireland defense recovers. Holland again.
Tommy, you talked about Babb. A little bit surprised to see Terry Phelan back in the green shirt again.
Well, before the Scotland game, he hadn't got a cap since '97. Last time he played was against Romania, and as Jack said, he did come back from that horrific injury. So I think it's a great credit to him to be out there again, but I'm not sure he's going to be on the team when the World Cup qualification starts.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Budweiser. We are in the 11th minute now in Foxborough, 0-0, the U.S. wearing red and Ireland wearing green.
And Tommy, can there be any greater contrast for Phelan from his most memorable match, probably not the one he wants to remember, but in Orlando in '94?
You mean when he got burned twice by Overmars?
That's right, and the temperature as well. It was 100 degrees there that day. We'd use a few of those tonight.
Well, I'm sure Berhalter and O'Brien would be kind of used to these conditions. The two men who play for the United States play in Holland. Berhalter with Camber. Alan Kelly. His dad managed Ireland, Jack, and he probably has a record which I don't think anybody else in the world will have it. He had one international game and he had one win and he was retired. He was just the caretaker keeper, so he has a 100% record as an international manager, Alan Kelly Sr.
McPhail. Hard tackle by Haydock, gets it loose to Kreis. Karofsky turns it nicely for Olsen into a little bit of space. Olsen trying to find Razov. Carr stepping up, hitting a long ball, getting the crowd excited, but Friedel well out to play it.
Brilliant tackle by Haydock, wasn't it? He got the whole ball.
Here's Razov out of the left side for Olsen. Olsen for Karofsky, looking for a seam. Getting ridden out of there by McPhail, into the middle and punched out by Green. A long blast goes just wide. Why not let it rip? Greg Vanny moving up.
Well, exactly. Why not let it rip? Vanny, not exactly California weather for this guy who's played a lot of his soccer there, but I think as you mentioned earlier, a night like this, man, you just got to fire from within 35 yards. Because the ball can really take off, not just on the ground, but the swirling wind is going to make it very difficult for the goalkeeper.
Phelan along the sideline, popping it into the middle. Haydock with the push against Kilban. And there's Mick McCarthy.
Well, he's under a little bit of siege at the moment. A few questions being asked. He played Kilban as a left full last week against Scotland. Now he has him on the wing tonight. He's really moving Kilban around. Must be looking for a spot for him.
Kilban looked a little uncomfortable at left back, I thought, against Scotland, Tommy. May have contributed to the first goal with some uncertain marking.
Phelan long across the box, and Friedel courageously coming out to punch it. Kilban throws it up there, and it goes up and over. The wind just playing crazy tricks on any ball that's in the air.
Well, you can see that ball died as Friedel came out to it. You're going to see Friedel come out, watch the ball die, and then it's punched out. A little bit of a tackle there coming on Friedel, but he got the ball away nicely. He was off his line. Kilban decided to have a go, give it a lash, and he put it over the top.
Razov heading it on. Babb making sure no American can get near Kelly.
Tommy, you talked about the keepers having to watch not getting off the line too much. On the other hand, we've seen now both Kelly and Friedel have to come out quite early to patrol the edge of the box because of these. Look at that ball just dive, because of the way the ball comes through so quickly. So they have to be very alert kind of sweepers too.
Vanny has Olsen ahead and Karofsky square. Vanny playing it to Kreis, back to Karofsky. Now Ben Olsen on the wing. Olsen driving it across the box. Babb up for the header. O'Brien knocks it ahead for Kreis. Couldn't control it, and Kelly boots it out past midfield. C.J. Brown against Doherty. Doherty flicking it on. Berhalter back for Friedel. He chips it for Vanny. Vanny with immediate pressure gets it off for Berhalter. Berhalter trying to run away from McPhail. Now here's Karofsky. Karofsky has a big hole for Razov. Didn't see it in time. The drive from outside is well wide again. Ben Olsen with another effort.
Well, that was a beautifully orchestrated piece of play, though, from the back. Nice control by the defenders. Berhalter, as Tommy's mentioned, has played a lot of tough defense. And this man in your picture there, Olsen, has moved up nicely to add to the attack.
If you're struggling to see some of our pictures, I got to tell you, our technicians and camera people outside are suffering and doing a mighty fine job. Wind chill factor has to be in the low 30s or high 20s right now. It is driving sheets of rain in Foxborough, Massachusetts. A foul on the United States, and Ireland will have the restart here as we enter the 16th minute in Foxborough.
Well, if you're a cameraman, I think this is one of these nights when you say, you know, I think I could be an analyst in this industry.
The guys I feel sorry for is the guys who had to go up and put the flags up on the top of the stadium tonight. They really had to climb up there.
Here's Babb's chip into the box. Vanny getting up, but it was Doherty winning the header. Again, a lot of pushing underneath these balls that are in the air, and part of it might be malice, but in fairness to the players, they have no idea exactly where that ball is going to come down. You think you're anchored in the right position, and then the ball moves. It's natural just to put your arm out. 60 or 70-yard ball, and just what was a little chip there gets knocked over the end line for a goal kick. A doubleheader coming your way this week on Soccer Saturday. Dallas at Columbus at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN, and LA at Colorado 10:30 Eastern on ESPN2. It's an MLS doubleheader on Soccer Saturday. This is Carr bringing it all the way across for Babb. Razov with some pressure for the United States. Babb playing the long ball for Foley. C.J. Brown read the wind correctly. Up ahead for Ralston. He knocks it off Phelan. It'll be an American throw-in.
What a story C.J. Brown is. A couple of years ago he was in the USISL, and now here he is playing internationally and playing very well. A very composed defender.
And there is Brown belting it into the grandstands here. Brown from San Jose State.
Played with the San Francisco Seals and of course moved on through the MLS, now with the Galaxy.
CJ's actually playing for the Chicago Fire right now. And a little bang-bang play with Foley, and it comes back out of bounds. It'll be an Irish throw.
I was sending him to California, Jack, for some of the good weather.
The spirit was right. Here's Phelan. Hard tackle by Ralston, and he knocks it out of bounds. So much of the play has been on this near side of the field. The wind just knocking everything back. Doherty in a lot of traffic. John O'Brien picks it off and passes it back to Friedel. Friedel with one step gets it 60 yards out to midfield. Babb's header is errant. It comes over to Olsen. Plays it square for Jovan Karofsky. Karofsky out of the left for Greg Vanny, who's got a big left foot. Back to Karofsky. Karofsky up the middle. Kreis, a nice turn back for Karofsky. His chip goes over the top. Nice 1-2 play with Karofsky and Jason Kreis.
Well, excellent play indeed by Karofsky and Kreis. Two players we talked about at the top. The turn at the end there was lovely. and nicely left by Razov too, taking a defender with him. That opened up the space a little bit for the run through. So US doing the right thing, that is to try to keep the ball as close passing as possible, but you got to find some space to play in too.
Jarowski long for Razov. It's a little too high. The wind pushing that one along. This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet. It's Ireland 0, the United States 0. We're in the 19th minute in what they call a nor'easter here in New England. There is a big low pressure system in the Gulf of Maine, and it is just dumping buckets. I was thinking Greg Vandy, number 22 in red tonight. He's a native of Tempe, Arizona. This is about as much rain as they get in a year in Tempe. We've gotten into about 5 or 6 hours here in Foxborough. It has been pouring all day. Babb drilling it long into the middle. Berhalter winning it from his knees. O'Brien tipping it up for Kreis. Not a clean first touch. Ireland takes back possession. It's Carr.
Oh, I think the US may have found something on that far side. Kirovsky's speed is giving lots of problems over there. Carr's had problems catching up to him, and he's burst in through the middle a couple of times. That could be a dangerous spot for the US to attack.
A bit surprising too, because Carr usually is very quick on his feet. One of the players, excuse me, one of the players who actually did quite well for Ireland against Scotland.
It is raining so hard here. This is the drainage system. Gallons a minute pouring out of the stands. Olsen trying to split the seam, gets taken down. It'll be a free kick for the U.S. on the far side.
Well, Olsen trying to go between two players, McPhail and Carr, and they shake hands. It is a friendly, although Mick McCarthy told us yesterday he doesn't like that expression whatsoever. Early international has competitiveness to it. I think he's right.
Kirovsky serves it to the middle all the way through, headed up and out of danger as Doherty got back. It'll be a corner kick for the U.S.
Well, that was that side I was talking about, Seamus. Carr was taken to the cleaners over there, and then when the ball comes across, watch the Irish defenders react here to the ball and just managed to get it knocked away. They were very lucky there.
Doherty read the deflection well, reacted quickly to it.
The corner out of the pile, knocked into the middle. The Ireland players calling a handball, all with their hands in the air. It'll be a goal kick, though.
So hard to direct anything accurately on goal with that when the ball is driven like that. First of all, you pretty much have to drive corner kicks. You can't just lob them up there because that's impossible in this kind of wind. You really have to drive them. But then they wobble a little bit, and the headers, people going for the headers, and a tough task to try to deflect them, but any kind of a touch may surprise people.
Seamus, it's hard to stand still in this wind. Here's Jason Kreis trying to get away from McPhail. He plays it square for Vandy. He's got a boomer of a left foot ahead for Kreis. Kreis drops it off. Kirovsky trying to split the seam. Check it. It was Olsen. Olsen back for Kreis. Kreis chips it across the wind. Came up into Ralston's face. Razov in a seam. Here's the blast by Hayduk. Goes over the top and sailing all the way into the stands.
Well, that's good possession play in the box here. Heads up play, and Hayduk timing his run forward is what really helped here. But this is good stuff by Razov, splitting two defenders and then being able to play it into Hayduk, who really should have done better with that. That was a good chance to hit a nice low one, which will be difficult to get down to at the far post.
Carr playing the long ball for Foley, and it just scoots right out of bounds. It's Ireland 0, the USA 0. We are in the 23rd minute at Foxborough Stadium. This is US Cup 2000. Hard to believe we're 2 weeks away from the summer solstice. This is brutal weather here.
What summer?
Exactly.
The sign on the door here says the air conditioner when you open it. It's really air conditioned. It says, please keep the door closed for air conditioning.
Here's Kelly's blast out toward midfield. Foley doing well to win that ball in the air, and Holland knocks it ahead. Here's Doherty with a little room on the right side. C.J. Brown trying to cut him off. Doherty has the hand on him, and that'll be a holding call against Ireland.
Well, Doherty would like to play as a central defender, but they have said that he may be the man who's going to replace Tony Cascarino. You're going to see him lean a little bit here on CJ Brown, puts the hand over the top. Referee makes the good call.
Friedel will take the free kick. Just getting it up in the air, and the ball goes another 10 yards with the wind. Haydock couldn't control the header. Phelan does a nice job to take it down. Now MacPhail. Babb trying to flick it up the side. Foley coming back nicely, drops it off for Kilban. Kilban immediately challenged by O'Brien. Kilban goes down, hops right back up on the deflection. Comes back for Breen. Farley, he gets chopped down and is a little bit slow to get up.
Oh, Garrett Farley taking a heavy knock there. Had a while with Everton, but never really made it with the blue side of Merseyside, and now finds himself with Bolton. Took a pretty heavy knock there. That's the last thing Mick McCarthy needs, is another injury. 13 of the original squad pulled out.
So Phil Babb will put it up for grabs here. The American line of defense about 20 yards from goal. Curling back, knocked down at the top of the box. Holland's shot pops up in the air. Christ heads it. MacPhail trying to distribute to Phelan. Olsen chases it down. Lets it roll out of bounds. How frustrating it must be if you're one of those players who knows he's on the bubble, who knows he's marginal, and this may be your only chance to play a lot, and the conditions are just horrible here.
Well, they're not certainly good conditions to get yourself onto a team. I mean, one of the primary things you have to do tonight is try to keep the ball off the ground, try to keep it about midsection. You don't want it on the ground's too wet. You don't want to get it up over the head. The wind is going to lift it. So it's a difficult night to play any kind of constructive football.
Phelan trying to throw for Foley. It comes off a couple of American legs. Foley right across the middle for Doherty. Parried out of there by Vanny, getting back nicely on defense. A saving stab by Greg Vanny. Otherwise, Foley has a golden chance.
Well, once again, coming from that left wing, that's where I thought the danger might come from. This time it's knocked in behind. Foley squares it all the way across. Vanny just reaches out to it because Doherty was coming on the far side. He would have a clear shot at goal. Nice move by Vanny to take that one away.
Garrett Farley to take the corner. Look at that thing go in the wind. Olsen, in self-defense, almost pops it up. Holland knocking it down. Olsen out on the challenge. Farley with a nice little 1-2 with Holland down in the corner. Holland into the middle, past Doherty. And the Americans clear to the perimeter, but not out. All the way back into the box. Brown hit him in the back. Berhalter blasting it out toward midfield, and again it skips out of bounds. This portion of the match is brought to you by Hershey's Milk Chocolate. We're in the 27th minute of the first half right now. Ireland adapting to the conditions admirably. Karofsky winning it away. Razov not able to control. Babb taking it away. This is Carr with Christ pressuring him. Carr blasts it upfield for Doherty. It dies. Berhalter heads it down. In traffic, Farley taken out. Hard on a tackle by Haydock. Play on. Karofsky slips. Babb counters for Ireland. Babb onto the near side for Kilban. Plays it back for MacPhail. Farley. MacPhail. Holland playing it ahead. Taken away. Ralston giving it away in turn. Very ragged play here. Ralston taken down by Farley.
Well, I think there's a bit of a payback here on Steve Ralston for a foul that wasn't called when he committed, but he dribbles away nicely, but he obviously is badly chopped down there by Holland. But the bench felt that there should have been a tackle, should have been a foul called against Ralston for a dodgy tackle just before that. So payback time there for Ralston. But otherwise, the game has been played at a good competitive level. And at this kind of surface, a sliding tackle can just be a second off, and it can look really bad.
Berhalter For Vanny, now Olsen coming back. Greg Vanny at midfield. This is Berhalter. Playing it up. Razov turns. Karofsky chipping for Razov. It goes all the way to Kreis. At the 18, off Babb. Kilban getting back and feeling. Popping it up in the air. The ball falls straight down. Hayduk. Head over heels. Play on. Foley on the tackle. And now Foley cracks it up into the stand.
Boy, that chance again fell for Jason Kreis, though. That's just the kind of chance that he needs to put away. And he hammered it right into a defender's legs. Good defending to be there, but boy, those chances are not going to come often for Jason. And he knows that's the kind of trouble he's been having in the national team shirt. It's just finishing those off.
Here's John O'Brien trying to play it forward, gets a second chance and plays it back for Hayduk. Hayduk for Berhalter. He has Vanny on his left. Decides to play it straight up the field for Razov. Breen read it all the way for Ireland. Now here is Karofsky trying to restart the attack. Little chip for Kreis, and Breen knocks him flat right onto his face. Hayduk on the right side on the feed from O'Brien. Hayduk working against Phelan. Hayduk running it toward the middle. O'Brien chips to the top of the 18. Breen, who's been an increasing presence, heads it out of bounds. On ESPN2's Friday Night Fights, 2 junior middleweight bouts on the card. Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Centering ball, there's Breen again. He belts it up the right side. Not quite to Darty, and it'll be a throw-in for the United States.
Well, Breen's one of those blue-collar workers. Very good in the air. He's a great work rate. He holds the center of that defense together. One of the 3 Coventry players on this team, which is amazing when you look at Barry Quinn and Robbie Keane, of course, not here tonight, because Robbie got injured, and questions will have to be asked to Mick McCarthy on that as well. I mean, Robbie got injured in the beginning of the game against Mexico. He let him play till half-time, and then he took him off, and now he's out for a while. And if you're Gordon Strachan, his manager, you know, that pits manager of country against club, and it's a very thin line, isn't it?
It is a very thin line. I think you're right, but here comes Ireland right now.
Here's a good chance. Hayduk on the header to get the ball outside the penalty area. This is Kilban trying to drill it into the middle. Phelan chips it up for the penalty spot. Berhalter heads it down and out. Chip right back in. Darty scores! Foley! Dominic Foley cashes in.
Well, Mick McCarthy's going to be happy about this, but you'd have to ask questions about the offside. Was he offside when the ball was played? That's a good question, but Foley puts the boot onto it. The man from Charleville in Cork. Look at this. Is he offside? It's very, very close. I think he may have just snuck in behind Brown. Flag doesn't go up, and there's the bulge in the old onion bag as Foley in his second game with Ireland puts it away. That's 2 goals he scored now, Jack. He scored 1 against Mexico, and now he scored 1 here tonight.
And here's Jason Kreis trying to run it down for the U.S. It goes out over the end line.
Well, what's also impressive about that goal is Foley's strength, because he was up against C.J. Brown there.
Well, I must say that Mick McCarthy remembered him from the under-21 team. He was missing for about 2 years. He took him into that testimonial that you were at in Lansdowne Road, Steve Staunton, Cascarino testimony, and his first touch on the ball, he put it in the net, and McCarthy said, maybe I'm onto something. He's maybe the man to replace Niall Quinn.
Like so many goals, Tommy, it was not a powerful goal, but it was just enough direction and strength. But his physical strength in just out-muscling C.J. Brown sends a message to 2 coaches, I'm afraid. One good, one not so good.
Just slid round him. He just kind of spun off him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Almost like a basketball spin.
Kilban winning the ball away from Karofsky in midfield, sending it ahead for Darty. Berhalter plays it back for Friedel. Friedel cranks it up for Ralston. Phelan going over the top to win that ball. Hayduk for Ralston. Outside of the foot flick. Babb takes it away. C.J. Brown volleys it forward for Razov. Tried the chest pass, but it caught his arm on the way through. Handball. Bruce Arena looks on, soaking wet.
Yeah, it's not too happy with the way that goal was conceded. I think that it's a bit of softness in the central defense there. That's one of the questions he's trying to resolve tonight. Who's going to be in there with Eddie Pope when he gets back? Carlos Llamosa, Frazier, got some strength there. You got to have some depth. Berhalter may be the better bet than C.J. Brown at this point.
A foul on Ireland, and it comes back to midfield. Again, Bruce Arena deciding to go with a different lineup here in the second game of the U.S. Cup, giving a lot of players who haven't had a long opportunity to play a much better chance to show what they've got. The weather is not helping them display their skills.
Well, when I asked him last night, the 22 men that he has here, how many of them would make up the world qualification team, he said at least 80% of them are here. You just wonder who's going to come in. I mean, would a healthy Tab Ramos get back on this team? I mean, would he end up playing in midfield on a team like this? A lot of questions to be answered still at that 20%, isn't there?
Here's Carr with a lot of room. He makes the run. Nobody stops him all the way through. He takes the shot, goes over the top. But a good alert run by Stephen Carr. This portion of the match is brought to you by Motrin. Ireland leading on a goal in the 31st minute by Dominic Foley. Razov flicking it on, intended for Ralston. Kelly alertly comes out and covers.
Well, we're going to take a look at the goal from the telestrator to show you whether this is offside or not. It's coming back out, and this is going to be an over-the-head kick. Now just watch it and hold it right here. Hold it right here. Now look at the offside line. You see, it proves that in fact there is a defender back there, and that is a good decision by the officials. And nicely finished. I have to say, I think Friedel might have done better with that shot. Not a lot of power on it. Maybe he expected it to be more powerful. But the officials got that one right.
Yeah, but for a young player, you've got to give Foley an awful lot of credit.
Yeah.
I mean, he just timed it perfectly just to slide around Brown.
Here's Foley, the goal scorer, chipping it into the middle off the shin of Brown. A long drive goes just over the top. Holland pulling the trigger from about 30. That goal by Foley, the 100th in U.S. Cup history. This is a tournament the U.S. has won twice, but not since 1995.
If I may say so, it's payback time, because goal number 1 was by Marcelo Balboa against Ireland.
And believe it or believe it not, Ireland has never beaten the U.S. in the United States, and the U.S. has never beaten Ireland in Ireland.
That's right. Well, one of the reasons for that, Tommy, is because in one of those matches in Ireland, Ty Keogh was playing on the team. So they had no chance in that game, obviously. That was a 1979 tie. Sorry to remind everybody about that 3-2 loss at Daly Mountain Park when you were a young lad.
Talca Park, you used to hang out in, right?
That's right, I did.
A little disagreement about the spot of the ball here. And we're going to get a substitution. Jason McAteer is going to come into the game for Stephen McPhail. And this is more attacking for Ireland. McAteer, number 7, has an outstanding volley.
Well, McPhail having a little trouble getting himself involved tonight, and he may have taken a little bit of a knock as well, and Mick McCarthy decided not to take any chances with him.
Price back to Karofsky. Karofsky hard for O'Brien. Now Haydock on the right side, looking against Kilbane. Excuse me, check it. Haydock's chip into the middle, skids into Kelly.
I have to believe that McPhail is injured, because he's going right away into the dressing room, and if he was just taken off, maybe on a bad night he mightn't make him sit on the bench, but I have to feel that he's received an injury.
Vanny cranks it up the sideline for Razov. Razov tries to turn to the inside, stabbed away by Breen. Olsen for Karofsky. Vanny, Olsen. Olsen trying the square pass. Babb sees it, steps up, knocks it away. This is John O'Brien. Straight ahead for Kreis. Flicking it for Olsen. Carr winning the race to the corner. Olsen sliding after the ball, but it rolls out. It'll be an Ireland throw-in.
Well, there's Jason McAteer, Tommy. I've seen him play a lot. I'm sure you have too. And I must say, I prefer him in a wide position. I think he does some lovely things in a wide position. He's now, of course, in a central position. And that's sometimes a bit more of a challenge for him, but he's such an experienced pro. Always gives 100% when the green shirt is on his back.
Yeah, he's a very hard worker, and you know, we were watching him last night, Jack, and he has a brilliant volley, so maybe he will work out in the middle. I mean, maybe the middle would be a place that they can put him and maybe have another look at him.
Long ball out of the left side for Foley. Haydock overruns it. Haydock comes back and wins it. Ralston. Karofsky. Had to move it a little quicker than that, and Ireland takes it back. Carr for Foley. Haydock challenging him. Foley holding him off nicely. Back to Phelan. Trapping a hard high pass. Berhalter volleys it out of there.
Both of these teams are keeping the game nice and compact, though. You got to appreciate that. There's very little of sort of long balls, because it's not a night for that. You cannot control them. Now there's one, and it's obviously cleared away. But the rest of the passing from both sides has been, 20 to 30-yard passes, because you can't really count on the accuracy over the long range.
Razov trying to find Kreis. Not much of a passing lane there. It rolls out of bounds on the deflection. It'll be a corner for the United States.
Well, I suppose if there was somebody favoured by the wind is kind of blowing down the field at the back of the United States, if you could say that. So they can afford to lift the ball a little bit more than the Irish. They're trying to kick it into the teeth of the wind, and that's why so much of it has been on the left wing.
This portion of the match brought to you by Nike. Headed right on by Razov. Kelly makes the save.
Well, a driven ball with a bit of swerve, a lot of swerve, and a good near post run by Razov, a flashing header, but it was always going to be Kelly's.
Craig Vanny ahead for Razov. He's got a little space against Breen, turns it to the inside. He's a left footer. Breen runs into McAteer. O'Brien chipping toward the middle, and it doesn't connect. Rolls out for a goal kick. U.S. has had plenty of chances, Seamus.
Yeah, they've had a lot of possession in the early going before they gave up the goal, but look at the formula was missing, because the formula was, yes, one over the crossbar. Another chance coming in here this time. This time it's Karofsky's in on goal, and a chip over the crossbar. Now a good pass by Razov, bringing in Haydock and over the crossbar. They've got to get a bit more accuracy in that shooting. It was one of the themes before the South Africa game, and they seemed to correct it against South Africa, which frankly I didn't think played that competitive a game against them. The Irish are competing tough tonight.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's really been it's one of the problems the United States have had is in scoring goals. If you look at the record over the last couple of years, I mean, they don't really have a natural goal scorer out there. They can just take the ball and stick it in the net. That was a lot of chances there. Some of those should have been put away.
Oh yeah, no question. And you wonder about Joe Max Moore, who of course played here for the New England Revolution, and those are the kind of chances that I'll tell you. I saw Joe play for Everton this year, and he was sparkling in England, and he was burying them in the net. Yeah, he had some tuck-ins early on, but he had some bombs for Everton until he got injured, and he's the kind of player that I think Bruce Arena has got to have in the back of his mind as helping to solve the scoring problem.
Closing minutes of the first half, and Kilban, number 6 in green, a big presence as throughout this half. Coming up at halftime, the All-State halftime report, highlights of the U.S. Cup. We'll take a look at the remaining schedule, and we'll look at highlights of this wild, wet first half. This has been a first half inside an automatic washing machine. Swirls of cold rain.
When do we go to the dry side? That's what I want to know.
Here's John O'Brien with a lot of room to run. Nice play coming back, Holland.
Well, I've watched John O'Brien on ESPN International doing the Dutch League, and he has developed into a pretty good holding midfielder. And occasionally, Jack, he does slide forward, but he doesn't have the most pace in the world. He's certainly developed into a pretty nifty midfielder.
A good feeling calling the player to him, yeah.
Hard tackle by Ralston, but the ball comes right to Kilban. Bangs it off of Haydock. Ralston on the challenge. Gives it up, though.
Good crisp passing. There's the long ball.
Looking long for Doherty. Flag is up on the far side, and it's an offside. So we've got just a few minutes left here in the first half. As you see now, the clock counting up.
Tom, you talked about Mick McCarthy. You got to acknowledge that Mick's a little bit on the hot seat. There's the long ball, just barely offside when the ball left his boot. On the hot seat because Ireland has suddenly become a country of almost but not quite after the great success of Jack Charlton.
Sorry, flick on header by Ben Olsen looking for Ante Razov. It doesn't connect. Now, if you're Ireland and you have fought into the teeth of this win for the first 45 minutes, if you can go into the room 1-0 after the first half, here's a chance. Knocked out of there by Brown as Doherty was bearing down his back. If you can go into the room up 1-0 after going into the win, you have to feel pretty good about your chances.
Oh, yeah. I would have to feel McCarthy would be very happy. And, you know, there's a lot of young players out there tonight. We said there's a lot of stars missing. But if you remember, McCarthy came here to the US Cup 4 years ago. And out of that US Cup, we got Cunningham, Breen, Hart and Connolly. Young players who became part of the senior squad. And that's what he's looking for. If he can get a few more. And Foley certainly looks like he's the goods, Jack. He looks like he could play on a senior team.
Haydock banging it off Kilban and out of bounds.
Well, for the United States in '96, only Friedel and Karofsky. How about that, Jack? Only Friedel and Karofsky from '96 are in today's starting 11 for the United States. So big changes there, too.
Kilban trying to go through the seam, falls down in the penalty area. Play on, says referee Armando Acundia. This portion of the match is brought to you by York Peppermint Patty.
Well, Kilban has that great speed, but Haydock gives him a little bit of a nudge. He gets a little dunt and down he goes. The footing out there it's not good, let me put it to you that way.
There are no puddles standing on the field, though. This is, as Seamus said earlier, a sand-based sod. So it does drain remarkably well. Torrential rains, and it has gotten worse as the day has gone on here in Foxborough. You can see no puddles, though.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. You saw Kilban soaring through there. He is such a dominant force on this left channel. It's going to be difficult to get by him in the air. Very difficult.
Kreis against Phelan for Razov. Kilban back nicely. Breen knocks it clear. Foley with Brown right on him. Haydock takes it away. Brown can't control the touch. Rolls out of bounds. The U.S. throws it right back in. Kreis taken down on a hard tackle by Kilban. And we are now in stoppage time.
Good move by Jason Kreis, though. Impressed by the quickness of his trying to pull away from Kilban. Let's see if he can pull something in the last minute here.
Kreis into the middle for Olsen, who ran right up the back of Carr. Carr taking his time across the penalty area. Smart veteran move.
No chance, no chance.
Stephen Carr wasn't going to be caught out. Olsen, no question about it. He's the star of the future, but he's coming up against an old-timer. Carr has been very patient.
And inside they go for a little cover after 45 minutes of play. Dominic Foley has the only marker of the match. It's 1-0 Ireland at US Cup 2000. We'll be back with the Allstate halftime report.
We need this back. It's rounder. Weapons!
Wanted one person to watch televised sports all day.
Job includes playing video games and receiving massages.
Salary $100,000 to $150,000.
Cavalier, so dependable, there are more of them out there working than any other small car.
Okay, come on, who's your daddy?
Cavalier, we'll be there.
How does Lotrimin AF start killing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching? On contact. How does it help stop the burning? On contact. How does it start killing all 3 funguses? On contact. Nothing cures better or faster than Lotrimin AF, the #1 recommendation of doctors. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure. On contact. Lotrimin AF. the killer cure.
After 6 weeks, how does the Dr. Scholl's Dynastep Sport Insert feel?
Before I tried the inserts, I had shin splint pain. Now I don't.
It's clinically proven among athletes to provide immediate relief from lower body pain.
When I play basketball, my lower back is much, much better.
Treat yourself right at drscholls.com.
When it's you against a migraine headache, you can't play nice. But now there's new Motrin Migraine Pain. It gives you the speed and power you need to show your migraine headache who's boss. New Motrin Migraine Pain Caplets for people who don't fool around with pain.
How does the almond get into Hershey's Kisses with almonds? Little Hershey's Kisses with almonds. Big chocolate taste.
Welcome back to rain-soaked Foxborough and the All-State halftime report. Let's take a look at how these two teams got here. The U.S. opening with a win, Ireland with a tie.
Well, the stage was set in Washington, D.C., where the storyline was pure Los Angeles. Kobe Jones getting all kinds of room and buries one in the upper corner. And then a few minutes later comes back and says, I like this left foot, let's have another go. 2-0 USA. Second half, more Kobe Jones, a great assist. And Claudio Reyna just glides it into the corner. And then the icing on the cake, a blast to the upper corner by Ernie Stewart.
And then we move on to Sunday's Ireland against Mexico. Daniel Osorno gets a little bit of a deflection here, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. 1-0 for Mexico. There's a Sanchez on the bench. There's a Sanchez on the field, and Horacio puts it in, and Mexico's up 2-0. But then the Irish make the comeback. Richard Dunn, the man they call the Honey Monster, makes it sweet for the boys in green, and it gets even sweeter as Dominic Foley knots in his first ever goal for the Republic. 2 apiece we end up.
Here's the remaining schedule. Mexico against the Republic of South Africa, 8 p.m. Central Time tomorrow night at the Cotton Bowl. The USA plays Mexico in the doubleheader at the Meadowlands on Sunday. We are at halftime in Foxborough, the U.S. playing Ireland. This is the All-State halftime report.
That at age 3, 33% of children with recurrent ear infections have evidence of speech and language disorders. Ohio Health Speech and Language Therapist can provide you with a free screening. If your child almost never talks in full sentences or is hard to understand, you should contact Ohio Health. Call Ohio Health to schedule a free screening. It's a call that can change your child's future.
Its father spread pandemonium throughout the Midwest. Its arrival will thrill a nation. Its legacy is destined to change the world. Presenting Son of Beast, the world's tallest, fastest, only looping wooden roller coaster. Son of Beast, only at Kings Island. Save $7 with discount coupons from participating McDonald's.
It's the WNBA on ESPN. Top forwards bang on the blocks when sharpshooter Natalie Williams leads the Stars against 3-time defending champs Cheryl Swoops and the Comets. Utah-Houston, Monday at 8 on ESPN.
Allstate joins every sports fan in America in cheering the team that has beaten the world at its own game. This year, they know we're coming.
The family has always put in the forefront to protect the quality and the standards set by Adolphus Busch.
The deep sense of pride that my grandfather taught me, that my father continues to teach me.
I think he would be very happy if the generations of his family have practiced what he taught us.
You worry about your car lasting? Imagine going 500 miles in one stretch at 200 miles an hour. That gets out the life right out of your car. That's why my team has always used Havoline Motor Oil. The same unique formulation you can get for your car. Technically speaking, Havoline talking about? Why aren't you guys working?
Welcome back to the All-State Halftime Report in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Everybody, hard to believe it's 2 weeks till summertime. It is a brutal evening here. We hope for much better weather on Sunday down at the Meadowlands. The United States then will take on Mexico in this great battle between regional rivals. It'll be the finale of the U.S. Cup, a doubleheader. The USA and Mexico, 1 Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific time. Coming up, Dominic Foley's lone goal of the first half. We look at highlights in U.S. Cup 2000.
How does Lotrimin AF start curing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching? On contact. How does it help stop the burning? On contact. How does it start killing all 3 funguses? On contact. Nothing cures better or faster than Lotrimin AF, the #1 recommendation of doctors. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure on contact. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure.
What's this stuff?
Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you.
Did you try it?
I'm not gonna try it. You try it.
I'm not gonna try it.
Let's get Mikey.
Yeah.
He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey!
Wholesome whole grain oats, lightly sweetened. No one ever outgrows the terrific taste of life cereal. No wonder Mikeys of all ages like it.
I like it.
You've been working hard all day, and now it's time to kick back and reach for a cool one. York Peppermint Patty. Get the sensation.
When it's you against a migraine headache, you can't play nice. But now there's new Motrin Migraine Pain. It gives you the speed and power you need to show your migraine headache who's boss. New Motrin Migraine Pain Caplets for people who don't fool around with pain.
Allstate joins every sports fan in America in cheering the team that has beaten the world at its own game. This year, they know we're coming.
How U.S. gymnast Vanessa Atler eats a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
After 6 weeks, how does the Dr. Scholl's Dynastep Sport insert feel?
Before I tried the inserts, I had shin splint pain. Now I don't.
It's clinically proven among athletes to provide immediate relief from lower body pain.
When I play basketball, my lower back is much, much better.
Treat yourself right at drscholz.com.
Can't get enough peanuts? Get a payday. Sweet caramel and tons of salty peanuts.
Welcome back to rain-drenched Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the U.S. has had its chances, but Ireland has a 1-0 lead at halftime. This is the All-State Halftime Report, along with Seamus Mallet and Tommy Smith. I'm Jack Edwards. And gentlemen, the U.S. could be leading in this game, but it hasn't cashed in.
It really hasn't. They missed some great opportunities, and Ireland took advantage with a wonderful piece of finishing when they got theirs. In the early going, there was a great chance for the United States, but it was all weather conditions they had to battle first. Never mind the Irish effort thrown at them. Look at here as Phelan gets sucked in now. He's stuck in the middle. There's a big wide space on the left back. Beautifully found by Razov. Well run into by Frankie Haydock, and he knocks it over the top.
And then McPhail, the young gun, guns it into the middle, and look at Foley. He just got a touch on it, but it was enough to beat the keeper. Look at that. He rolls off Brown, and he buries it. What a goal for Foley.
Rain and more rain, and 35-mile-an-hour winds, and temperatures in the low 40s. It's a great night for soccer. Come back.
Breathe new life into your home with fresh colors and styles.
Welcome to our summer blowout, where you'll find the most beautiful wear-dated carpet at the lowest prices of the season. At Right Rug, choose from a full line of wear-dated carpet. Beautiful today and beautiful tomorrow. Get what's right for you. Right Rug, the guaranteed lowest prices for 65 years.
The battle that was meant to be.
This is my year.
Oscar De La Hoya.
I'm fighting the best fighters in the world.
Sugar Shane Mosley.
Now I finally get my shot.
This time it's in my hands.
I won't give an inch.
I'm coming to knock him out.
We'll see who goes down.
De La Hoya versus Mosley. Destiny. June 17th, live on pay-per-view.
The action is in demand. Pay-per-view for the demanding viewer. This month on Time Warner.
Hello?
Got what it takes to do Sports Center?
I'm Skippy D, tonight on Sports Center.
Go behind the Sports Center desk by entering the Key to Sports Center sweepstakes presented by New Bex Light. Log on to ESPN.com for your chance to win.
How did I do?
Hello?
What's happening, B?
What's that?
What's that?
hold on, baby. Okay. Hello?
What's that?
What's that?
What's that?
Oh, that was hot! Did you see that?
Yeah, that was hot.
When it comes to keeping up with fashion, it's easy to be let down. Good thing there's Chevy Cavalier. It's stylish, easy-fitting, plus Cavalier's the lowest-priced car with air and anti-lock brakes standard.
Yeah. What's that?
So you can look good without costing you an arm or a pant leg.
Yeah.
All Chevy Cavalier. Depend on it.
Amazing how lifting just 8 ounces a day can help keep your bones strong. Tropicana Pure Premium with calcium. The best 9.3 seconds you can possibly spend on yourself.
Perhaps in sympathy, the referee allowed the second half to begin about 10 seconds ago. You have really not missed anything substantial, but Ireland in green is going left to right. And all of those players look awfully dry compared to what they looked like at the end of the first half. They all have changed into new uniforms, so they're comfortable at least for the next 30 seconds. This is Berhalter. There's been one substitution for the U.S. Ernie Stewart is on, wearing number 8 in red. You see him along the midfield stripe. He is in there for Steve Ralston, who was ineffective in the first half. Here's Foley with a chance, but Friedel comes out to smother the ball.
Well, the Ernie Stewart substitution for Ralston is not good news for Steve. Maybe he was hurt, but he didn't really make much of an impact in the first half. Now, Stewart, of course, presents a quite different proposition to the left side of the Irish defence, namely Terry Phelan. Stewart's got blazing speed and can shoot, as we saw in the match against South Africa.
But it'd really be terrible to miss out on your World Cup opportunity if you were judged on a night like tonight, wouldn't it? I mean,
I agree.
Somebody's got to take something into consideration. I mean, it's a horrible night to be playing football.
Here's John O'Brien. He cranks one for Ben Olsen. Olsen playing the wind well for Razov. Kelly coming out to smother the ball.
Great idea. Wonderful idea from Olsen. Razov just not quite being able to catch up with it. The weather conditions not helping there either.
Here's Ireland on the attack. Doherty looking for it, but he was offside. This portion of the match is brought to you by Haviland. We're in the 47th minute in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Hard driving rain throughout this entire game. Players are suffering out there. The wind gusting upwards of 50 miles an hour. Punishing elements. Razov pulling down McAteer. He gets called for it. Ireland quickly restarts. Foley looking for Doherty. Hard tackle by C.J. Brown. This is Farley waiting for it. Brings it back. Carr. Carr working against Olsen. Takes him to the inside. Chipped up. C.J. Brown unable to handle it cleanly on the first try. Foley to Doherty. Friedel has the ball.
Wow.
Well, little indecision by the US backs, and a little bit of the wind aid here too as the ball comes across. You're going to see Haydock. He's not quite sure where it is. Foley's in behind him, and oh, Doherty should have put it away. That should have been his goal. I mean, all he had to do was knock it one side of the keeper, and he had it in the back of the net. That was a miss and a half.
Olsen for Christ. Tries the flick on for Razov. Doesn't work. Breen back for Kelly. He pops it up.
Oh, he just slapped it off the side of his foot there.
Olsen knocked down in a little go with Carr, and it goes out of bounds, so it'll be an Ireland throw-in. And the indecision on C.J. Brown's part for Bruce Arena's team.
Well, one of the fatal flaws in defending is to let a ball bounce on the ground in the goal area. You just cannot do that. And Haydock stood there and watched it bounce. You have got to attack that ball and just clear it down into South Providence somewhere. I mean, you got to get it out of the park. You can't just take a look at it. You really got to attack it. And that's what I think what Brad Friedel was saying. And you can see the look in his face saying, what are you guys doing?
Carr cranks it up, the wind at his back, chipped on. Here's Doherty. Has to run onto it. Back out top for Kilban. Karofsky sends it for Trice. Stabbed away from him. Karofsky wins it back with a tackle in midfield. Breen very strong in the air against Razov. It bounces to Olsen. An American player is down. John O'Brien very slow to get up as play continues. Greg Fanny has a chance. He's got a big left foot. Here comes the cross. Curling in. The header. Bicycled out by Phelan. Price maneuvering in traffic. No, it's Stewart. Deflected over the top, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick for the U.S.
Oh, what a tremendous save by Terry Phelan. And he's feeling it there because he made the bicycle kick. But this is a great cross from Vanny and a nice flick-on header to the far post. Not quite enough to get there, and Phelan hooks it away. Well done, Terry Phelan. 33 years old or not. That is one heck of a save for your country.
John O'Brien is back up. Greg Vanny with a powerful left foot. Will only need to get this thing into the air with a 50-mile-an-hour wind at his back, blowing diagonally toward us from him. Curling it in hard. Christ settles it at the arc. Can't get off a shot. Out of midfield, Foley tries to turn. O'Brien with a hard tackle, punching it back into the middle. Carr dropping it off to Kelly.
Well, O'Brien is still moving gingerly, and that's one of the problems, of course, that John O'Brien has had. He's taken a lot of injuries over the years playing with Ajax, and really Arena hasn't had that great opportunity to look at him in a couple of games in a row.
Razov offside. Berhalter on a 35-yard header, and Razov not getting back to midfield. This portion of the match is brought to you by Budweiser.
Well, Razov really not playing very well. Seen him a couple of weeks ago against the Metro Stars. He's inclined to be very left-footed, and that's really all he has. I mean, it's a question, is he going to make it at this level?
Well, he's also he's been jinxed in this park too, Tommy. Comes here and that's offside. He comes here and the Revolution just eat him up, even when they've had poor teams. And I guess the same has been true down in Giant Stadium. I don't know what it is when he comes to the Northeast. He wants to play in Europe. I'll tell you one thing, if he does, he ought to go straight from Chicago and fly over. He don't want to stop off on his way here because it does him no good.
So the U.S. will start it after the offside.
Question, though, is still about Karofsky. You know, Karofsky has a big key here. Can he pull some strings for them?
Friedel skids all the way in on Kelly. There's Jovan Karofsky.
Yeah, well, we saw him do a couple of nice things early on, but then, as I said at the top of the show, he sort of disappears for a while.
Well, he didn't play any this year with Borussia Dortmund, a team that was going very badly. He just can't seem to get a break. I mean, he couldn't get a work permit when he was with Manchester United, and things just don't seem to be going right for him.
Price trying to chip it for Olsen. It goes out of bounds, and it'll be an Ireland throw-in.
Well, Jason, the other person we mentioned of the two Ks, the double Ks, and in the land of Pedro Martinez, where 2 Ks doesn't add up to very much, they've got a little bit of a challenge to make their own impact here.
Frankie Haydock has it for the United States. O'Brien back to Haydock. Playing it back to C.J. Brown. You got to be careful back here. One misstep in the slot, you can send your mark all the way in alone on a breakaway. O'Brien onto the right side. O'Brien getting it back. There's Brown having to play it first time for Ernie Stewart coming back. Karofsky looking on the left side for Olsen. Can he change the point of attack? Goes inside for the shot. It's blocked and goes out of bounds. A corner kick for the United States. The Americans almost seem to be doing better going against the wind. I don't know if Bruce Arena told them something at halftime, but when they're playing it on the ground, they seem to have more success. They're playing it in the air a lot in the first half. Corner to the far post, goes all the way through. Olsen in a race against Babb. Olsen gets there first. Babb picks his pocket.
I must say that Babb, he might have been rusty coming into that game against Scotland, because he certainly has stepped up here tonight. I mean, a man, if you don't play football for a year, I mean, you're going to be a little bit rusty, but Babb has improved considerably. I mean, he doesn't look like a shadow of the player that played against Scotland. He's playing very well tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he only had a few matches on loan for Tranmere, Tommy. But, you know, that's not going to do it to get you ready for the professional, you know, for the international level.
You're going to be in Rich Snyder's good books now, because Rich is a big Tranmere fan.
Well, we all have our struggles, don't we?
If you want to see out-of-market MLS games, including playoffs, get ESPN MLS Shootout. Call your cable company, DirecTV, or the Dish Network. Ireland with the wind at its back and a 1-0 lead. U.S. throw-in. Razov trying to play it off for Karofsky. Now Doherty in a long race with Berhalter, but it rolls out of bounds again.
Well, McCarthy was talking last night. He likes to play that 4-4-2, but he gives his midfielders, he gives them the license to roam wherever they want to, except when they're on defense. He said he expects them to hold straight lines, and you can see it's working out there. You can see them interchanging over and back across, and Matt Holland's certainly doing a lot of very unselfish running. A man who helped Ipswich get back into the Premiership. Sean Brown will never let us forget it, Seamus, will he?
Well, they're also doing a good job, Tony, getting a lot of players behind the ball when they lose possession. So the passing spaces now are being restricted. Well, look at these people. There are 16,500 demented local Bostonians and New Yorkers who have driven here. And here they are with the Ole chants. Gotta love it.
Ben Olsen outside of the foot flick for Razov, working hard against Breen, but he can't run onto that. Kelly, the master of his penalty area.
I think if we had medals to give out tonight, we should give one to every fan in the place, because every one of them deserves it.
This game is bragging rights for any soccer fan who honored his ticket and said, I'm going to go. They will talk about this forever.
In about 20 years, you'll talk to 90,000 people here tonight. It's like the day Ireland beat Italy in the World Cup. There's at least 200,000 Irish in New York who are at the game now.
Ante Razov for John O'Brien. O'Brien looking on the right for Stewart, decides to bring it to Hayduk. Grice getting taken down. O'Brien bringing it crossfield. Lucky bounce, it comes to Vanny. Vanny for Razov, trying to turn 1-on-3, just too much resistance there. Olsen into the middle, a bad clear, and it comes out for a corner kick.
Oh, just when I was after saying that Phil Babb was playing well, what does he do? He really makes a scuff of it.
A Babbism.
This portion of the match brought to you by Chevrolet. You see how hard it is for our camera people to keep shots steady in this wind. We have the benefit of tripods.
They're doing an incredible job, aren't they?
It is a phenomenal technical masterpiece that's going on here. In-swinger, Kelly controls. The volley by Christ, knocked down in front. A shot goes wide. Razov with the talented left foot, unable to put it on the face of the goal.
Well, I hate to put the old Foxborough jinx on him. Maybe I should have kept my mouth shut, but that was a typical chance that falls to this guy in this park. Wasn't the easiest one. He snatched at it rather. First of all, it comes out. A good decision here to punch it out. You don't want to try to catch it in that awkward position. Not a great shot from Kreis, but it fell beautifully in the end, did it not, after a couple of caroms for Razov. But it was set up for him, and he slid it past the post. That was a very good chance gone awry for the USA.
Vanny using the left. Past Olsen. It comes back to Farley. O'Brien takes it away. Karofsky playing it square for Hayden. He's got a lot of speed. Will he use it into that space? Frank Hayden confronting Kilban. Has to play it wide. This is Stewart. Back for C.J. Brown. He falls down. Doherty ran into Brown, and Friedel guns it down the field. Well, that is exactly what we were talking about earlier. You've got to be very careful playing it to your back line because the field is so slick.
Well, when you play a ball back, you've got to be sure, and Stewart played it back, and Brown just went down, and Friedel was alert to the problem.
Well, I tell you, Brown got a little bit of away with some gamesmanship too, because he clearly obstructed the Irish player to come through. Just a little bit of a nudge, so he reacted quickly and got away with it.
The wind is blowing so hard that the signage, which is about 60 yards long, blew down behind the goal. A long scorch shot by Carr, and you can see the ball bouncing off the downed signage behind the goal. Incredible, the force of the wind here. Claudio Reyna is coming into the game, I believe, for John O'Brien. And that's an interesting move because Reyna tends to move forward in midfield while O'Brien was a defensive midfielder. So Bruce Arena really clearly sending a message to his charges. He wants to push it forward.
Well, he wants to win. I mean, one of the things he said is he wants to win. He's not interested only in seeing players. He wants to win the U.S. Cup, America's premier tournament in its own country. And now he's bringing out one of the big guns who can help.
Well, but if you wanted to win, where was the big guns at the beginning?
Yeah, that's...
I'm not slighting any of the players that are out there, but if you have that desire to win, don't you go with your best?
Reyna for Razov. Razov's drive! Saved by Kelly, right at it. Well positioned. The goalkeeper reading the play. That is the first shot on goal for the Razov-Kreis combination. Many have gone wide and over the bar. But on a night like tonight, you got to get him on the face. Here's Doherty, a chip into the middle. Berhalter heads it down. McAteer trying to get a volley off. Foley also unable to get off a shot. Razov has it in midfield, back to Vanny. Vanny with immediate pressure from McAteer has to chuck it out of bounds.
Well, you would have imagined by now that Mick McCarthy might be pulling the troops back, but he's not. I mean, everybody's still pushing forward. Jason McAteer pushing down the middle. Carr pushing up on the outside.
There's McAteer volleying it forward for Foley. C.J. Brown taking it down on a hop. McAteer intercepts into the middle, over Doherty. Hayter wins that race. You can see a little bit of splashing now down on the field as water is beginning to puddle up. Must have been an inch of rain at least on this field as Mick McCarthy, the Ireland coach, looks on. This portion of the match is brought to you by Hershey's Milk Chocolate. We're in the 61st minute, only goal of the game by Dominic Foley in the 31st minute of the first half.
Oh, McCarthy, would you believe he got his last cap here, 92 against Portugal. That was the last international game he played.
Foley is offside.
Well, Tommy, to play the devil's advocate with you a little bit, I think it's unrealistic to put the first team out 3 matches in a row in 7 days. So you got to find out something about some of these guys. Maybe not all 11. Maybe you have a point there. But you still want to see if you can get the winning instinct even in the second string players and hope that they can come through for you.
Well, maybe I'll answer you when this play finishes here.
Karofsky on the right, chips it back toward the middle. Flag was up, the ball was over the end line. And it will be a goal kick for Kelly.
Well, I know McCarthy doesn't believe too much in chemistry. Last night he said that he did very badly when he was in chemistry in school. But I think if you're going to put a team out to win something, chemistry has to play a part in it. And if you keep splitting them up, you don't get that many chances the whole year to see your team together. And I think every chance you get is important. And for me, I'd be putting out my first team all the time. Maybe I'm a little bit greedy. Maybe I just want to see the players that I have that are good. But that's the way I'd be going about it.
Well, there's Kobe Jones. It looks as if he's getting loose. No reason not to be taking cover on a night like tonight. So Jones getting ready to check into the game as Razov and Kreis have been unimpressive up front. In spite of the conditions, they still need to deliver. Remember, the 2002 World Cup is going to be played in Japan and Korea during the monsoon season.
Well, you just wonder some of those chances that fell to Razov tonight. You wonder if Kobe Jones was in there, what might have happened. But I mean, it's all superstition. You can say what you want. I mean, you can be a Monday morning quarterback anytime.
Ernie Stewart on the far sideline looking for some help. Americans not moving very much. Now, it's cold and rainy out there, but that's not an excuse. You still have to move, make yourself available for the pass. Brown has to knock it out of bounds, and here's a chance for Ireland. A long throw goes right into the middle of the danger area here, and Phelan's coming up to take it.
And I mean, when you look at some of these Irish players, I mean, some of them 2 caps, some of them 3 caps, some of them 10 caps. I mean, it's not a very experienced Irish team that's out there. You should be fit to take advantage of them. You should be fit to force them into mistakes. I know it's not a good night for it, but for youngsters, they have played very well.
Reyna hauls down Kilban as Kilban made the power move on the left side, and it'll be a free kick for Ireland.
Well, the other thing, Tommy, that's impressive about Ireland is that they're playing well together. I mean, this is not just an isolated group of guys. Some of these guys have played together as youngsters, and they've been blooded now with some good international experience in Europe before coming here.
McAteer's serve looking for Foley. His header out right on, and a save by Friedel. Friedel's been a busy man.
Well, he certainly has, and you're also looking at, they're using the new rule here tonight where the keeper doesn't take the steps. He has 5 to 6 seconds to get out to the edge of the box. I mean, they brought it in, it's coming in the rest of the world the 1st of July, but they have been using it in the MLS in the United States, so they decided to use it here tonight, and Friedel coming out. It shows, I think it's a quicker release, Jack.
Incredible as this may sound, I think we are experiencing the worst squall of the night right now. The wind has to be at least 50 miles an hour, and the rain is coming down, not just in sheets, but in wild swirls. And to this maelstrom enters Kobe Jones coming in for Jason Kreis. This is a man who has been red hot.
Well, he's been red hot in red hot DC, and then he's been having some trouble LA, but against South Africa, he had no problems finding the upper corner, and he got another chance. He said, you know, I like this left foot. Here's another one. Bang, 2 in about 7 or 8 minutes, and those were impressive. So Jason Kreis's night is over. Not the most successful of nights under tough circumstances. Did some good things, but not sure he did enough or all he wanted to do.
Berhalter immediately looking for Jones, a little bit too high for him, and Kelly has it.
Well, when you listen to Mick McCarthy last night asked the question about Jones, all the caps he got, and I said, well, maybe he doesn't play against the best players in the world, he said, but he certainly looked like one of the best players in the world on Sunday.
Doherty going for it, but Berhalter knocking it away with Haydock hanging on to Doherty. This appearance by Kobe Jones is his 128th, tying Marcelo Balboa's all-time record by an American. This portion of the match brought to you by Motrin. Reyna looking long for Stewart. It dies in the wind. It comes right to Razov. Razov fighting Breen, and Breen wins that battle. Boy, the Irish do not back off one little bit when it comes to those tough physical confrontations.
But you saw the problem now. They're trying to get quick early balls forward to Stewart and Jones to take advantage of the speed, but the weather conditions are going into the wind. That's going to be very hard to do. You're not going to be able to knock 40-yard balls and have them maintain the same accuracy. You see Claudio Reyna out there trying to push his teammates up, and look at these caps here. Cello Balboa has just been tied now by Kobe. 128. Of course, the famous highway here in Boston, which was a parking lot as I came to the stadium. And as I came to the stadium, by the way, I passed the parking lot, and it said, "No fires allowed." I thought that was a nice, cute piece of irony here. Somebody has a sense of humor.
Berhalter belting the ball in the air. Jones fighting off Breen. And someone's going to get a talking to here. It's Breen.
Well, the referee's saying that Breen used the elbow illegally.
The U.S. restarting quickly. Reyna at the perimeter.
But I'm thinking if you're going to go far in the World Cup, you're going to have to get used to those elbows, because you're not going to get anything easy when you play at the international level.
Haydock bringing it back. That's Brown, who slipped earlier. Haydock throwing it up for grabs for Jones. Babb has the header, and Phelan punches it clear. Doherty intercepted. Berhalter for Brown.
We should point out, by the way, that while the U.S. has used 3 subs, and you might think, well, that's it. It is not it. I don't think it's restricted to 3. Are they 5 in this tournament? Yep.
9 eligible, 5 may play. Creative chip in front. Razov scores!
Oh, surely offside.
And the flag remains down, and the Irish are irate.
Well, Tommy, we'll have to look at that one, but...
I thought he was 2 steps off when the ball was played.
I mean, the Irish goal initially looked very close, and we saw the replay. It was definitely fair. But let's take a look here, because there are 2 touches in here. This is the dribble forward, looking for the space. Now, everything's okay there.
He's okay. He's okay.
Now, here's where it happens, right here.
He's not okay.
Oh, he's not okay.
He's way off.
Way off. Well, how could that possibly be missed at this level?
That is just
really
bad
criminal.
officiating. I mean, and if you go back to the last time when Ireland competed in the US Cup against Mexico, they got a few bad calls at that time as well. And that was clearly a case of the man. He was at least a step and a half offside.
Ernie Stewart gets an assist on Razov's goal in the 68th minute. And the U.S. gets a huge, huge break here.
Well, wouldn't you know it, it falls to Razov, a guy who couldn't buy a goal, and now he's bought somewhat, I think, not somewhat, a highly tainted goal. That's really amazing. The Mexican officiating crew, that did not look a difficult call to make. I mean,
we have a bad angle here, and he was obviously offside.
That was really a piece of cake to make, it seems to me, because referees did so well on the Irish goal, which was a much tougher call, They got it dead right to their credit, but that one was a piece of cake, and they blew it.
And it was the same official over there.
Yeah.
By the way, there will be no overtime. They play 90-minute matches in U.S. Cup. And another ferocious gust tears through Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Well, we're going to look at it again.
Take a look at it here as the ball comes in. Now, there's the first touch. Now hold it right there. See the line of defenders right here when that ball has left his head. Clearly, Razov was way off. The hands all go up. There's no chance for recovery.
And Olsen was off as well.
Yeah. Wow. Now that's a shame. That's really a shame because, you know, the officiating crew have done a good job tonight under tremendously difficult conditions, and they got the most difficult decision absolutely right.
Well, you know, they make decisions to make decisions, but when you see one that could decide the game, I mean, and it goes the wrong way, you feel very bad about it. I mean, you feel very aggrieved about it, especially the conditions out there. You're playing in horrible conditions, and then in the sense you're wrong. You know, it's...
Well, here's Kilban trying to set it right for Ireland. Trapping it back for Holland. Phelan up for grabs, past Doherty. Berhalter drilling it out of bounds. Phelan will take the throw for Ireland. In the 71st minute now, this portion of the match brought to you by Nike. Holland giving it up. Here comes Reyna. Claudio Reyna onto the left side for Greg Vanning. Vanning chipping it up for Stewart. It runs past him, skipping by on the turf, and Breen, who's been rock solid, plays it ahead, losing to Karofsky, though. Here's Kobe Jones. Jones, a through pass attempt. Babb making the stop. Phelan turning it up.
But Razov and Stewart, unfortunately, ran into the same area for that ball, and that's what drew Babb over.
Foxborough, Massachusetts, and U.S. Cup 2000 alongside Seamus Mallon and Tommy Smith. I'm Jack Edwards. We've had a power failure. This is what happened about 71 minutes into the match between the United States and Ireland, about 3 minutes after Ante Razov had scored a goal after being offside. And it has been a very nasty, nasty day here. Lots of high winds, and all of a sudden, the lights just went out completely.
Turn out the lights.
That's right.
The party's over.
I don't think it's over yet. Couple of goals in this game. One for Ireland in the 31st minute by Dominic Foley getting it going.
Paul McPhail is the man who puts it over his shoulder. Dominic Foley in behind Brown, and he beats the keeper. Nice slide too, Dominic.
And then the same end, this time Stewart's on the ball. And here's his little flick header, but to an obviously offside Razov, who tucks it in anyhow. And amazingly, he's not called offside. The goal is given. Very poor decision after a very good one for the Irish goal.
Well, we've been without power now for 5 minutes, and the match is still on, and we're awaiting word on how long it will take to get it back. After this break, we will send it to ESPN, but we'll have further reports from Foxborough for you, and we hope the rest of this match as Ireland and the U.S. are tied 1.
How does Loterman AF start killing athletes?
Hi there and welcome to those of you who have been watching soccer on ESPN. We're having a bit of a power problem out there at Foxborough. We will get you back to the action between USA and Ireland in just a little bit. But first, I want to catch up on some of the other news in sports throughout this day.
We start things off with some baseball news. News will continue after a quick timeout.
Lots of high winds, and all of a sudden the lights. Jack Edwards, it's been a very interesting evening. We have had a power outage here in Foxborough, but we are about to resume the second half. Now, if this game had not been able to be restarted after 60 minutes because of this power outage, since they already had played at least 45, it would have been an official game. But as you can see, we're now underway again. The U.S. wearing the red jerseys, going right to left here late in the second half. Now we've had 2 important substitutions for Ireland. Mark Kennedy, number 11 in green, is on the right side of midfield, and Niall Quinn, number 9, a force in the air, is up front.
Well, somebody found a huge big dime to put back in the meters. We got the lights back on again, so now it's time to play again.
Well, this stadium is doomed, you know. It's condemned. It's going to go down, but it's a little premature to pull the plug on the electric bill. Ooh.
Kobe Jones tumbling down hard in midfield as Babb goes in for the ball. They say play on. Quinn can't turn for it quickly enough. Berhalter popping into midfield, and here's Kennedy's first touch. It's back a little hard for Carr, but he manages it nicely. Chips it up the wing, and the flag goes up, and oh, that's not going to sit too well with the Irish, who were burned badly on Razov's goal. Vanny running about 15 yards up the sideline on the throw, and they let it go. McIntyre heading it back. Kobe Jones having a look, but Kelly is there.
Oh, they'll be looking for Quinn inside now. Look for Alan Kelly to punt it long to him, perhaps. And Quinn, that should be a good battle inside.
Oh, I think so.
6'4", but there's Haydock beating him to the ball with quickness. Back comes Claudio Reyna with a lot of space. A through ball intended for Razov, who has the goal. Carr knocks it over his end line. It'll be a corner kick for the United States as another massive gust comes blowing through Foxborough Stadium.
A loose ball there by Carr. These corner kicks are a high adventure here with 50-mile-an-hour winds and lashing down rain.
In the gale, right into the middle. Razov can't head it toward the goal. Reyna wins it back. Karofsky chipping toward Kelly. Kelly lets it run out for a goal kick.
Well, Tommy, you talked about Kelly trying to launch it forward to Quinn. If Quinn comes up against C.J. Brown, I think C.J. Brown is going to be in for one heck of an interesting 17 minutes.
Well, Quinn is a big bruiser, and he loves to knock the ball down with Robbie Keane in there, but he has a big man alongside of him now. It'll be interesting to see how he plays with the big man with Foley.
Carr facing pressure from Olsen. Olsen going in, sliding, and getting called for it. Ben Olsen has the energy of a mad dog.
Oh, Stephen Carr making a nice cut on him there, and he forced Olsen into making the mistake. The youngster going for that little bit of a dummy that Carr sold him.
So Kelly with the restart, and a huge wind at his back, but the wind swirls and knocks that one straight down.
How bizarre. It looked like the wind is at his back, but then how can it slow it down if it's at his back?
It just made a 90-degree angle turn.
Well, we watched the plastic bag out there in the middle of the field. It swirled. It did about 200 turns before it blew off. The ball's doing the same thing.
Berhalter winning it in midfield. Now McIntyre back for Babb. Babb steps around Razov up the left side. Intercepted. Haydock winning it away. Ernie Stewart belting it down the right side. It sails over Razov's head. Here's Phelan. Phelan moving away from Stewart. Haydock's slide tackle knocks the ball out of bounds. It'll be a throw in for Ireland.
Well, here comes Tony Sane into the game. Now, a strange time to substitute him.
Sane going in there for Ben Olsen.
Yeah, I mean, strange in the sense that everybody got a rest in the locker room. And then come out and play 3 minutes. And he'd throw somebody in after he sat on the bench. I don't know what Bruce Arena has seen, that he's had enough of Olsen or what, but you would have thought they'd make that change earlier. But
Reyna for Vanny. Vanny has Sane out wide. Vanny decides to go 1-on-2, loses the ball on Kennedy's tackle. McAteer back to Kennedy. Getting away from Reyna, runs into Jones.
Well, Kennedy well known for those crosses that he provides, but I'm not sure in conditions like this that you're going to be able to get a good cross in.
Kennedy toward the sideline. McAteer bangs into Vanny. Berhalter wins the ball. Sane back to Vanny. Plays it for Reyna. Running away from McAteer. This portion of the match brought to you by Tropicana.
Well, you've seen a lot of Reyna this year. He playing on the back line for Rangers rather than being a man who was the playmaker. He does push up on attack all right. When he arrived at Rangers, scored a couple of goals, but he tailed off a little bit, and they've used him at the back, but they do push him up. Here he's the man who's going to run the engine room.
Hayden turning it toward the middle of the U.S., wanting a handball call against Phelan, not getting it. Stewart getting it back for Reyna.
And that's his Reyna's position now. Is he dropping back onside, they say?
Karofsky laying it off. Hayduk with a little bit of room against Phelan. Two fast players there. Hayduk can't get around him. Crosses. Babb volleys it clear. Niall Quinn coming back into the defensive third. McAteer with plenty of room to run. For Kennedy. Now Carr making the overlap run around his right side. Intercepted. Berhalter stepping up, asking for the call, not getting it. Breen in the central defense to Kennedy. Back for Kelly. Now what will the Wind do with this one?
Well, that's a smart move, just to play it nice and low, a low driving ball. Don't get it up into the breeze, because it's very different 50 yards upfield or 25 feet up in the air.
Hayduk letting it run for C.J. Brown, and Brown knocking it into the 4th or 5th row on the far side. 16,000 people actually came here. There were about 8,000 no-shows who probably are watching at home and saying it was worth it not to go. This is the kind of weather that terrifies sailors and should make most sensible people want to stay in a nice warm living room where they can watch a game such as this. Sane volleying it up ahead. Phelan. Karofsky chipping for Kobe Jones. Phelan onto the left side. Kilban knocks it out of bounds. Baseball tonight is coming up next, and we urge you to stay tuned for that immediately following the end of this game. Our second half obviously has been stretched out considerably by a power outage here in Foxborough that lasted about 20 minutes. The U.S. had scored a disputed goal about 3 minutes before that. It appeared that Ante Razov and Ben Olsen both were offside, but the flag never went up.
Well, Claudio Reyna almost got that one through. He's made a big difference since he's come on. Just such composure on the ball. Tommy is talking about how Rangers have used him in all kinds of positions, even right back in the last 7 or 8 games. And he played a lot of right-sided midfield, central midfield. He's got terrific experience this year in Scottish League, and he's just taken over the middle of the park, and they're very comfortable going to him. See how he's always there. Rarely gets caught in possession.
An outlet there for Razov. McAteer grabs Reyna. It'll be a restart for the U.S.
McAteer looks like he has the job of picking up Reyna and trying to stay with him. That'll be a pretty taxing exercise for him.
Ernie Stewart working against Phelan. Stewart drawing it back. Here's Hayduk with a burst of speed. Chips it for Karofsky. The diving header cleared out of there by Carr. Stewart volleys it into the middle. Breen pops up the header. And we get an offside called against the U.S.
Well, I'm not surprised there's some sarcastic applause over there for the offside decision, but it was...
We're still on the air. We still have a game going in Foxborough. It just went to black there for a minute, but all is well. Niall Quinn flagged offside. You know, I think that Niall Quinn has not gotten loose. I think that he never got a proper warm-up. He does not look fluid. He just got caught offside there. and he's been beaten to a couple of balls by players who've been in the game throughout.
I wonder, Tommy, do you think he's saying, well, thanks a lot, Mick, for bringing me into this nonsense?
Well, you know, it's not the best time to come in, and a situation like tonight is never a good time to come in. But certainly, Kieran Murray and Mick Byrne, the physio, I'm sure they worked on him inside.
Through ball for Kobe Jones. Breen cut him off, and Kelly has it at the 18.
I was talking to Kieran. The one thing they were afraid of was cramps, you know. And Kieran himself, a Gaelic player, all-star with Monaghan. You know all about playing on wet pitches like this.
Here's Foley on a long run, but Friedel is out. He goes all the way into the top of the first section of the stands.
Well, Friedel believing in safety there, just banging it out. I'm not sure what danger he saw, but he decided not to take a chance. Wondering, will he be back with Liverpool next year, or will he be with Rosenborg? If he is with Rosenborg, he better get used to this kind of weather, and maybe even colder.
Kilban banging it off the shins of Haydock. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allstate. Alongside Seamus Mallon and Tommy Smith, I'm Jack Edwards. This is Ireland and USA. We're only a couple of weeks from summer, and when that warm weather gets back to New England, boy, will New Englanders be happy for it. It is brutally cold, temperature in the low 40s, wind upwards of 40 miles an hour for most of this match, and hard, heavy driving rain. Ante Razov with Kobe Jones breaking on the right side. There goes Razov toward the corner. Jones hits him in stride. The cross all the way past Sane and volleyed out nicely by Kennedy. Brown collects it near the midfield circle, getting away from Niall Quinn. Frankie Haydock for Brown.
Greg Berhalter, I've got to say, he's dropped back here now. I don't know if he'll get the ball, but just out of your picture, I think he's been the one player who has solidified himself in the World Cup squad. He has really made some timely interceptions. He's not gotten beaten once that I can think of man on man. And I would think Bruce Arena is very happy that he has another central defender back there of proven quality. We just saw Berhalter clear that one away.
He has good range, and you know, you'd think he's beaten, and yet no, he can come up with the goods. I've seen him do it with Camber many times.
And he had lots of chances of Camber.
There's Niall Quinn with a nice turn for Foley. McAteer on the way through. Vanny cleans him out. The ball dies at midfield and offside against Ireland. Friedel way up to take the restart. We're in the 83rd minute. About 7 to go. I cannot imagine there would be much stoppage time for humane reasons. Friedel way beyond everybody, and it skips past Kobe Jones. Today's match has been brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of U.S. Soccer. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet. Chevy will be there. By Tropicana, makers of Tropicana Season's Best and Tropicana Pure Premium. Alan Kelly's restart.
That's Shamrock Rovers banner over there. Being a Dundalk man, I can't get away from them. I mean, my biggest nemesis, the Hoops from Milltown.
I used to go to Glenmalure Park as a kid, and I used to go away cursing more than cheering, because I, like you, I was a Drumcondra fan, and Shamrock Rovers were just a nemesis of everybody in the League of Ireland.
There's Berhalter, who has played well, stepping in front of Quinn to knock it out. Phelan, the throw-in, intercepted. Haydock pops right back out of bounds. Phelan will do it again.
Well, U.S. don't want to give anything away now. If you look at, you know, with 7 minutes to go, 1-1 maybe just a happy way to settle it. They would love to snatch the victory, but they certainly, I think, Arena will be wanting to see now, what do we do? How do we handle tough field conditions, a good competitive Irish team, and a 1-1 situation? Can we button it up?
McCartney not taking any chances here. He's brought Kennedy in, he's put him out on the wing, but he's bringing him back to play as an extra defender as well.
Babb almost gives it away. Here's Razov trying to poach. Babb from his knees played it away to Phelan. Kilban in midfield.
Babb is an adventure on his own out there, isn't he?
Here's Niall Quinn with a huge amount of room. Berhalter trying to close the gap. Quinn, very crafty. Decides he's going to play the safe ball, brings it back for Carr. Carr pops it up into the middle. A little flick on McAteer, the volley! And Friedel makes the stop. McAteer, a marvelous volleyer, getting something on it. and, of note, getting the ball in the face of the goal. Reminder, baseball tonight is coming up next. Carl Ravitch, that noted Needham High School soccer player from not far from here, and Harold Reynolds standing by. And we'll join them as soon as this is over. Here's Berhalter. Intercepted Kennedy. Moving on, Berhalter gets the baseline. Chips for the middle. Nobody home. Ireland making sure it doesn't make any big mistakes. Look at how fast Ernie Stewart can move with the ball. Phelan confronts him. Kobe Jones, 4 strides off, they let it play on. Reyna thought the ball was going to be whistled dead for offside and had given up on it.
Well, Babb is scratching his head saying, what is going through the minds of these officials? Now, I think they decided the ball was going nowhere near Jones, and therefore that he was so-called passively offside. I always find that a very tough thing for defenders to come to grips with, because Reyna ran under it and mistrapped it with a shock that he was alone in the box.
I think he quit on it because he knew the play was offside.
I think it's a rule they've got to change. I mean, they've got to do something about it, because how does the official know who the ball is going to be played to? And I mean, it's so late then when he makes the call.
Here's Kobe Jones working on Babb. Sane on the outside, crosses it into the middle, rise up! Just wide. The All-State save of the day. We have seen a bunch of chances.
Well, you're going to see this. Watch this. Carr is hung out to dry here, and as the ball comes across, look at Terry Phelan with that ball out of the goal line. It was almost inside of the post, but Terry put a foot onto it and he bicycle kicked it away. I mean, that was earmarked to the corner of the net, and Terry Phelan took it away.
Oh, I get the sensation. This portion of the match brought to you by York Peppermint Patty. Here's Brown having to play it carefully with Quinn right on him. Now a good bang between Kilban and Haydock on the far side. Kilban, much more substantial a player. And Haydock saying he got the elbow up, and apparently the officials seeing it Haydock's way. Friedel will take the free kick.
Well, there have been some good physical challenges in this game, but it's been very competitive. And Mick McCarthy sort of challenged me last night when I said, didn't you think the Mexico game got a bit feisty? And he said, well, I don't know what you mean by feisty, but we just thought it was good and competitive. I thought there were a few tackles in Mexico-Ireland game that were very questionable, and some high elbows and so forth, and friends in the Irish Times felt that way too, but not Mick.
Barry Quinn comes in for Dominic Foley for Ireland, and for the United States, Brian McBride comes into the game for Ante Razov. McBride very good in the air. And here he goes to challenge forward, flicking it on for Sane. Sane for Jones on the right side, off of Phelan. Reyna, Kobe Jones, moving on Phelan, not getting anywhere. Phelan giving him nothing. Very solid defensive play. Now Jones trying the little squirt move, but the ball rolls out, and it'll be a goal kick for Ireland in the 89th minute.
Well, Terry Phelan just stood his ground. There was no way Kobe Jones was going to take him to the cleaners that time, and Terry stood there. Kobe tried to make the move, and then he just pushed it a little bit over the byline.
I'll tell you, he got a lot of help though, Tommy, from Kilban, because Kilban came back and gave Phelan the extra security there of taking away the easy back pass along the touchline for Kobe Jones. So Kobe had no alternative but to try to go one-on-one with Phelan. Phelan was up to it.
Vanny heading it back for Friedel. A reminder that Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, a game that'll be seen at 3 p.m. Pacific, the U.S. takes on Mexico in what we presume will be much nicer weather at the Meadowlands in the closing doubleheader of U.S. Cup 2000. Chip ahead for Kennedy, too far out in front, and Friedel has it at the 18. Wild, swirling winds, driving rain, and here comes another 60-mile-an-hour gust in Foxborough. Barry Quinn just into the game for Foley for Ireland. Here's a chip ahead for McAteer against Berhalter. Berhalter slides and takes the ball out of bounds for a throw-in. Berhalter is the Chevrolet man of the match, and he has played very solidly in the U.S. defense. Bruce Arena saying he could have played 30 years ago. You always know he's there.
He always gets a piece of you, that's for sure. You won't go by his territory without knowing that Berhalter is around.
$1,000 in his name, donated to the U.S. Soccer Foundation. Now that ball just died and actually fell backward toward the U.S. goal at midfield.
Well, I think the referee will blow this up at 90 minutes. I think it's not going to give much time, but...
That's where we are right now.
No, he's playing on a bit.
Here's Kilman. One last chance for Ireland, perhaps. Vanny half volleys it into the air. Sane popping it up.
It's going to make it difficult to win the trophy now for Ireland if this result stands as it is.
This will be 2 points. You get 3 for a win, 1 for a tie, 4 points for the U.S. Chip into the middle. Friedel has to snare the ball. All eyes are on the referee, who finally blows this thing dead. Seamus Mallon, Tommy Smith. I'm Jack Edwards. Thank you for being with us. Baseball Tonight is coming up next on ESPN. Ireland and the United States tie 1-1. And the U.S. remains in first place in the U.S. Cup standings. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. 1-1 in freezing Foxborough. So long, everybody.